Why we have absolutely nothing to worry about. You see, everything depends on how you see reality. You can either see reality that reality is a random occurrence. So it's like this and it won't be like this. How's it going to be? The truth is, reality is a movie. It's a 6,000 year movie. In fact, it was all predicted. Just let's take one prediction. 3,300 years ago, the Jews got the Torah, and it says in the Torah, you'll get this land, the land of Israel. They got it before, they got the Torah before they got the land. And then they go into Israel, they manage to get it. It says you'll build a temple in the place that I will show you. 400 years later that takes place. And then God predicted that you won't keep the laws and I'll kick you out and you'll go through all the suffering. And then I'll bring you back. Never in human history, think about what I'm saying. In all of human history, never was there a nation that was banished from their homeland. Think about this. Any nation that was banished from their homeland and returned after 2,000 years. In fact, there was a German, I don't know what you would call it, maybe anthropologist or something. He was writing about the history of the rise and fall of nations. And when he learned about the Jews, he threw out his entire story. Because the Jews don't make sense. It doesn't work based on any natural law. And yet, it happened. In other words, the Creator made this happen. It was all a trajectory. The reason I'm saying this is because we have to understand where we are in that story. And if you understand that, you understand that everything is going to be so good, you can't even imagine how good it will be. Let's begin. We know there's a 6,000 year line and a 7,000th year, which is called Shabbos. This parallels the 6 days of creation. Every day in God's eyes is 1,000 years. And there's a lot of information on this, which I'm not going to go into. But like each day has an emotion, the type of 1,000 years corresponded to that day. And the 7th is Shabbos, that's like the infinite gift. Now what year are we? We are the year 5,780. Now, of course, the year 1,000 is already after day 1. So the year 5,000 is after day 5. And so that means we've already started the 6,000th cycle. And we're about to go into the 7,000th cycle. And this is very critically important. Because the year 5,750 was the time that we start to get close to Shabbos. And extraordinary events that never took place in human history occurred. Russia, that was a savage Iron Curtain, on its own volition. That's an amazing thing in human history. These things didn't happen. On its own volition, decided to give up all its territories. It was the largest country in the world at that time. And free the Jews. Let people go. It's unbelievable. That was like an exodus out of Egypt. Furthermore, China at that time was a communist country. And communism, whatever you say, it impoverishes everybody. And they went to capitalism, and it made them all a lot better off, and that's a good thing. And then India went through major changes. There were major changes that affected the majority of the world, and they happened in natural ways. People don't even realize that the greatest miracle is not that God has to force people into something, but that people themselves, and that's the whole messianic process, that's what God wanted. He wanted us to wake up to the truth, to feel compassion, to do the right thing because we want to do the right thing. Never before in human history. Everybody's reading the news. So I have to tell you a story. I once heard a lecture by Michael Medved in the New York Public Library. It was a 24 marathon of positive speeches. And Michael, who's a syndicated radio show host, very, very bright guy, he said, when you statistics or polls, when they ask people, how's life? If I asked you, how's life? Life is terrible. It's never been worse. It's terrible. Then you ask them, how's your life? Okay, before the COVID. It's very good. So how can your life be good and life in general be bad? So he said it's the media. Every single bad thing that occurs, you watching it all the time. So what do you see? Remember, we are very, very sensitive people. The first thing we need is a sense of security. So anything that can make us feel fear, which is the media's job, so it's feeding fear, turning you into an anxiety, and studies prove this, that you become more anxious about your own life. Never mind the fact is that this happened in, Timbuktu, but it bothers you in your life because you have a general sense of fear now. So the media is a wretched evil. And basically 2 weeks before the 2016 election, I got so sick of the cycle. You're listening to the whole thing again and again. Basically, that's what they do. It's a washing machine. They say the same stupidity again and again and again. They find a new stupidity again and again and again. It's what it is, cycle of crap. And so eventually, I said, that's it, no more media. And I'm a very happy person. I couldn't believe it. 2 weeks later, I became a happy person. Think about this, going from a sort of a anxious to happy just by cutting out the media. And so if you look at the facts, never in human history has there been more democracy, has there been more freedom, has there been more security, has there been more education, have we been healthier? All these things, never mind the gifts of technology that everyone can ask questions. I go onto Quora, I answer questions. So it could be an Arab from some country, they're Middle Eastern. It's a beautiful thing. People can help each other. Millions, not millions, hundreds of millions. People do a fundraiser. People collect money. It's unbelievable what's going on. It's messianic. But the point is that if you think it's just random, okay, so something else random can come and mess it all up. It's not random. It's organized. I don't want to go into the whole thing of free choice, but the bottom line is even free choice was God got you to choose freely the right thing. It took him maybe 6,000 years, but he got you. And so now we want a good world. And so you see, we're in right before the Messianic state where things are only going to get better and better. And then when the Mashiach comes, it will be only infinite goodness on the physical, on the spiritual, and holistically balanced together.